Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Guided Meditations and More. My name is Ade Richardson, and so this is I offer guided meditations on Thursday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time and on Sundays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And it used to be daily, but I had to cut back. And recently, I've been hosting interviews with various types of people, talking about variety of topics, spirituality, politics. We have healers, teachers, professors, all different types of people have been on the video podcast. Now, I originally started guided meditations and more back in March when COVID was really starting to spike here in New York. And this page was meant to be a support for people that were going through stressful times, that just needed a place, to go to find, to have a community support, a place where they can learn different techniques and things to relieve stress. And I've also included into the mix, the interviews, which, has picked up, and it's been something that I've really been enjoying. So that's just a little bit of the backstory about the page. And so today we're here with Birane Seck. And the topic is coffee and spirituality. Now, if you have any questions or comments for Birane, you can leave them in the comment section, or you can send me a direct message and I'll try to get it to him. But if you want him to answer any questions during the interview, your best bet is to send it to me in the comment section right below this video, and I'll try to get it to him. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit of Birane's bio. I probably won't read the whole thing. It's a pretty big bio. So Birane Seck is the founder and owner of Jif Gel LLC. He is originally from Senegal, West Africa, and has been living in the United States with his spouse and two young daughters for a decade now. Growing up in Senegal, Birane was introduced to Café Touba, which is a traditional Senegalese coffee. He learned to make the coffee at a young age at home and school. Birane recently turned his love for coffee and his mission to serve into a business. This was the birth of Jif Gel LLC. Birane's mission is to bring health and wellness to as many people as he can. Birane's coffee has been featured on Channel 7 ABC News and other local news, local New York news networks. I believe the other one was Channel 12, was it? Or yes. Yeah. So, there's more to the bio here, but first of all, thank you for joining, Birane. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me here, Ade.
And I thought, we would do something a little different on the podcast. And we're going to play a video. So this will give more of an introduction of Birane's coffee and his business and his mission. So I'm pretty new to the screen sharing on Zoom, so bear with me. I'm going to try to figure this out. I've practiced a few times, so let's see how it goes.
Hey guys, my name is Birane Seck, live in Brooklyn, New York, from Senegal, West Africa. I've been here in the United States more than a decade now, and married with two lovely daughters. Today we want to present you our great company. It's called Jif Gel LLC, located in Brooklyn, New York. Today we want to present you our products. Is called Coffee Touba, the best coffee in the planet.
We do your coffee sampling for free. So if you want to make a free sample coffee, it's a very special coffee. All right, let's do it.
We make everything handmade or organic, natural. and it's making outdoor. We roast it all handmade to make people have that classic work and with a better taste and all natural.
I like it.
It's come with the natural coffee beans from Ethiopia and the salad pepper from Senegal. Mix it together, you will taste the whole African. And with this taste, give you a note of ginger taste in the resin, so good. Africa had a big problem with orphans. Kids are being raped, treated in a very bad conditions. A portion of our profit we reverse to those kids to build a facility for a safe life and a better life. Africa have a problem with farmers leaving the communities. We want to keep them, educate them, integrate them by reversing a portion of our profit to build and a safe life. When you can taste the coffee tuber, you feel the peace. And that's what we made, because it was made all in love. And with that love, we wanted to give it back. Thank you for listening.
Good. We will make a cafe crema. Como te gusta. Gracias.
Bye, Faldigal.
sunu waaji kenn du moom Café Touba la ni naan di waxtaan ci baaxu borom ndigal.
It seemed like it worked, and you know, I'm drinking some cafe tuba right now.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
And it's really delicious. And you know, the first time I drank it, it was at a Zikr circle, and that's actually the first time I met you.
Right.
Sufi was there, and
Right.
you know, we were doing chants and prayers. And if you haven't been to a Zikr circle, you are in for a treat. You know, you if you ever get a chance to do it, it's really something. And especially, you know, my first experience was with Mourid's bifalls, and I think that's a extra special experience. You know, we had the cafe tuba, and just the feeling of love and compassion and warmth that I received when I went there. It was, you know, overwhelming. And so let's get right into, let's start at the beginning. First of all, talk a little bit about what Cafe Tuba is, the actual coffee, before we get into the company.
Okay. Hi, Ade. First of all, just thanks for having me today here. Like you said, today we will talk about coffee, tuba, and spirituality. Before we talk about our company, what we do, and we would like to talk about the origin of the coffee tuba itself, where it's from, who's the founder, and what made it spiritual, to bring it to the spirituality. The coffee tuba is origin from a holy city called Tuba in West Africa, exactly in the region they call Jubel. It was founded by Serin Tuba, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba Khadim Rasoul, late 1800, around 1883. After he founded it, he was, that time they had a colonization issue in Africa after the slavery. That time he was promoting for the peace fighter. Then he had to go to exile for 33 years old with the colon. And during the exile, he was challenged to death many times. And one of those challenged to death, the coffee tuba was part of it. Because as a Sufi, the founder, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba, used to use a lot of coffee and tea. And the colon, knowing that, one day, one of the challenge of to the death, they was trying to poison it. Okay, they put a poison on the coffee and just gave it to him meant like they was giving a favor because he using a lot of coffee. So when he had the coffee and the Khan walked away, then he mentioned that the angel Gabriel came to him and told him that God say this coffee had the poison. And he said, yes, God said that. Did he say, I can drink it? He said, no. Did he say, I cannot drink it? He said, no. Then he said, I can do whatever I want with the coffee. He said, yes. He said, tell him that my soul, my life, everything, and whatever happened to me is depend on him. Whatever he wish from me, it depend on him, and I will accept that. And he drank the coffee. And once he drank it, he had so much power and energy at the same time that the Khan was so amazed the way he was reacting. He was writing for an hour and hour, kept writing, because he used to pass his time writing and praying. Once they walk away, because they were so feeling bad because he couldn't kill it because they give him a poison. Once they walk away, the angel Gabriel came back to him. He's the one who explained. Because he passed away early 1927. So we still have our grandparents who was living that time. They still explain what happened and everything being written. I'm just reporting what's been happening is about the story, okay? About the story of the coffee. He explained once the Colin walked away, they saw he was so much powerful and kept writing, and he couldn't affect him, the poison they put in the coffee. The angel Gabriel came back to him and said, God ordered me to tell you to write coffee, the word of coffee. And the word of coffee in Arabic, not in English, not in French, but it was in Arabic. And in Arabic is al-kahwat, meaning coffee. And once he wrote the word of Arabic in coffee, so he wanted to bless each letter of the al-kahwatu, meaning the coffee in the Arabic word, and mention each blessing, whoever want to drink the coffee or drink the coffee throughout Saint Tuba. That's where the spirituality starts. Because before he explained the process why, he told them, I bought the coffee, I trade my blood through the coffee, with the coffee. Okay, that's why if you see, take it as a spirituality, that's where that starts. Each letter he pay him, because in Arabic word, if I could explain to you, is alif, lam, kaf, al-kuber, waw, and ta with the accent. That's how you write al-kahwat in Arabic name. And each of them, they give you the letter of the blessing. Akramatuta, akramakuta, lakantuka. They have a different blessing, he put it on there, but it's all in the Arabic world. That meaning he said that he's the one who will serve him straight in all need without request, and whoever drink the coffee because of him. He said, you understand?
Yeah, so there's a blessing in that specific coffee itself, the Cafe Tuba. We're not talking just generally all coffee, right? We're being specific.
To explain, the coffee tuba is coming from the general coffee, because tuba doesn't produce any coffee. Doesn't have a farmer's coffee, doesn't have that. Okay. We talk about Starbucks or any kind of different coffee, Italian coffee. Italy doesn't produce coffee. Okay. So they buy it from Brazil, Ethiopia, Rwanda, or any other place, but the way they make it is on to that place because the way they make that coffee with the taste. And basically in Senegal, before Saint Touba, coffee wasn't a part of the culture. We usually drink tea because it was close to the mall, like Mauritania and stuff, and it was part of it. After Saint Touba, because that's where the specific place in Senegal they used to find a coffee. they call it Cafe Tuba. That's where the name started.
So and how do you make cafe tuba?
It's the same way like the regular coffee, the same way we brew it. Maybe the roasting and the process is different, but the way it's served is the same way. And it's made with all love, spread with the meditation at the same time. As a Sufi, we do a lot of practice of meditation. Let's say I can say in 24 hours, no stop. Meaning is go to the work, from the work to the zikr, and mix it at the same time. While you work, you do the zikr. Meaning there is no, there is no stop. It's keep going.
Yeah, and I'm still amazed by that, because that's something I used to experience with Abdullah, with Sufi, Sheikh Sufi, is whatever he's doing, he had his zikr beads. He could be talking or
Exactly.
carrying a full conversation. And
Right. Because it doesn't bother you talking or sleeping or doing something and doing the zikr, because you stay on your heart. Because it's all love that's spreading, that you're giving and showing, because it's a total devolution. And it's going constantly. Like that's something like that can say like your motor. That's something like that can keep you moving.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about now that we're talking a little bit more about zikr and the Sufism. Can you talk a little bit about Morism, and specifically the bifal?
Muridism and bifal. To be bifal, you be a murid first, then be a bifal. Um, I can say whoever, we all murid. Like you are murid, everybody's murid. Murid means whoever tend to or go to God, and we all return. That's where we're from. Meaning everybody, all creation are murid. That's murid. But being a bifal is something else inside of murid, because it's a total devolutions that you work and live with the like a riches of knowledge, peace, and love that you're spreading, and throughout you get that knowledge actually. Because what you're giving, that's what you're getting back. And that's about the business that we call gift gel. Because you're giving a positive, you're always getting a positive back. You're giving a love, you're always getting a love back. And in the Sufi, we usually say, you look left, you look right, you look up, you look down, you see the same thing. Meaning, like it's all kind of a cycle that we like all inside, that we kept moving. And it's a constant work and sharing and growing, and also like a more humble, because knowing things doesn't mean you have to take adventures, but the knowledge and everything is something that you're supposed to use for your devolution to help people and serve to God throughout the people.
So it's very much, I get I feel like when I hear the word bifal, what comes to mind for me is work and service. It feels very much like constantly, and just watching what you do, constantly working and serving. And are those two things even separate at all? Is it just one thing?
It's one thing actually, because once you work and it's done, you have to serve it. You know what I mean? And you cannot keep it, meaning it will be like for yourself. And if we do it for like a brotherhood, if we spread it like seeing myself to yourself, projecting myself to you, meaning whatever I got, and I have enough, I'm willing to share it. And it's all about living in a community where I can give you a picture about the surface. It can be a big tree that everybody can sit down and have a shape under this, like an old, young, a kid, a female, man, whoever wants. It's like a road. Everybody can take that path and go straight to the destination. It's like oceans, just because it's so wide to explain for each word, we can stay till tomorrow to explain this is a Sufi. But in the future, we can have a little bit of idea what it's about. That everybody can get into it to get the full knowledge of growing, and also even like getting to like each personal needs, or like fill something that it was empty in and out.
So when I hear that description, you know, about community and service and cooperation, you know, it seems a great contrast to a big part of what we learn here in the United States, where a lot of times it seems to be set up even in the school system. And I don't know if the school system is different. You know, you could talk about that in terms of the way that, you know, the way that we here in the West, it's set up in a lot of ways to be competitive, to teach kids to be competitive, and, you know, to be on top. And then in the United States, to, you know, in a lot of ways, it's set up that way. It's about competition. It's about winning out over the other person, you know, and stepping over the other person. And I find that a lot of this is at the root of it. There seems to be a lot of fear and this drive to gain power. And we are seeing the results of that out in the world today. So can you kind of talk a little bit about the contrast of that to what you're talking about now with how Sufis live?
How Sufis live, first of all, is not like seeing, because when we talk about that contrast and all those gaps, because it's a lot of identity, meaning it's like each subgroup or community, they try to either identify themselves for a group of fair, political, social, or I can say financial, it can be, you know what I mean? And in that case, it can bring a lot of problems. And in Sufi house, once you get a chance to go there, you don't recognize who's poor, who's rich, who's this, who's the knowledge, who knows, who don't know. Everybody looks the same. Meaning they're working in all about what God said, وَلَقَدْ قَرَبْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ, meaning the most children and who's representing is the human being. Doesn't shade this community, this gender, this or that, is just a human being. And as of that, that's how we go. We don't see the color, we don't see this, but we just leave it as we're supposed to be. And it can be all well organized no matter what, but in the way that it cannot be divides the society in the class, social class. You know what I mean? That's where the problems. In educations, it's better we educate our kids, because once the kids are good, the future is better. That's why the education is very important. Once the kid is good, we're good tomorrow. Because tomorrow you'll be retired, right? And kids gonna take over. So it's better the kids are good now and tomorrow. So our future is great, because we're living with our future right now. And the point in the question is now the education, what we're gonna put into them. Is that our information, what we want to them to be, or we're just gonna guide them from where we start to push us, help us, That's where the problem. But we cannot bring the same history or the same technique we've been learning since 2000 maybe. Education should evaluate, increase or change according to the situation of the society, I guess.
Yeah, and I
Because
think we're seeing that today in a lot of ways. It feels like we are evolving in some sense, like the consciousness is evolving. We're becoming more aware, and in a lot of ways it may not look like that on the surface. I know people, if you're watching the news all the time and social media, some places highlight all the negative, but I
right,
think, those who are in tune with the spiritual circles and just, the everyday people who are, the farmers and different types of people who aren't, oversaturated with news and all of that negativity. I think what I'm seeing is there is this growth of inclusiveness and compassion. And these qualities seem to be, taking place now. So, and that's going back to what you had said, that our school system should reflect the change, if I'm hearing it correctly, the change in this evolution rather than being stuck in the same old, sort of dynamic that we were in, 20 years ago, which
right,
is not working. Those systems aren't working anymore.
right. Because there was a lot of things in the scientific haven't been approved maybe early 2000, and now we've been clear and the scientific have been find the result. And all the stuff you haven't been explained or we've been searching, why don't you just update as we reset the computer or reset our phone to update or upgrade to do with our system too? And that would be so helpful with the kids and also keep them also the same value, because educate and the value is a little bit different. Because who's have to put the value to the kids? Is that a school or it's a parents?
And so what is the school system like in Senegal, or either when you were growing up or now? Is there a big change, and does Mouridism and or the Baifal and Sufism in
It
general?
doesn't have any change. The reason why I say that, because in Senegal, um, they have it's good to have reference usually. Um, like let's say you go in US, you come in US, you have those fathers of the Constitution, Abraham Lincoln, and so on and so on. You go somewhere else, you have Gandhi, you go somewhere, you have this. But in Senegal, they have that problems, meaning they have a big Sufi. It's a 98% of Muslims. It's not about the Muslim involved because it's a very modern country where they celebrate all holidays, Christmas, Easter, Muslim holidays, and they all live together, which is amazing. Understanding how they live together between a different fair way you can find the other side, they kind of live together. But here it's possible they marry together, they have cousins, this or that. That's not a problem. But my point is having someone where it can be a reference that can put in the school system that did something at least for the country for, I can say, quarter of the circle, and fight for peace, bringing a lot of change in the community as a youth, because I've been seeing a lot of kids who was homeless or like orphans and stuff like that, that they being to the Dara, that the Sufi helped to fix their life and have a better life and living like a normal people without having that handicap in their life that they're missing someone, let's say. Help them
And just,
learn.
I'm sorry, just what is the Dara? Is that the type of school? Is that a
It's a traditional school. That's where kids go. It's not only kids, anyone who want to learn can go. Usually in Senegal, when your kids, your parents, they take you there to learn a little bit of Quran, the religion. You can go to the church or whatever the data. And where you learn, you start getting family. It's like a daycare, but at the same time learning a different like lifestyle that where you can learn sharing, knowing some stuff that what your parents can put on you. And they got a different case. They have orphan, they have someone can have like kids want to take them there like 3 hours a day, 4 hours a day and take them back home. So it's not like somewhere like where you can sleep. They do have somewhere you can sleep on, but it's not everybody. And over there is really good, it's really helpful for most of the kids. I don't say all of it because we do have a lot of data problems in the city, not outside the city, but most of it is inside the city because the city is different and some they use it for business, which is not good. That's part of my business to help those kids, the other side. But that help a lot of people about the value for cultural value. Also, if you don't have chance, your parents don't have chance to take you to school to no modern school, you can learn it there and learn how, like how at least work when you grow up and take care of yourself, which is so good and instructive in that way. And at the same time, it's spiritual because they teach you how to meditate, how to serve, how to teach you a lot of knowledge about the religious, about meditation, Sufism, and most of it is like more action than learning. Meaning, if I said action, because teaching in action is better than like reading on the book because you memorize more. Looking someone doing it, and tomorrow you can do it again. And there is a lot of practice as well. Meaning like the practice can be in the work, like work with your hand, like craft or something like that, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not as much of that sort of hands-on practice here, especially nowadays. You know, with I mean, I imagine all over the world we're limited in a lot of ways. And let's talk a little bit about how you got into the Sufi order, if that's the correct way to say it, and how did you become a bifal? I imagine you were born into it in some way, but maybe talk a little bit about that process and you know, is it?
Actually, it's not about the process. Bifal is about feelings. Somewhere someone leave it as me, like I do, but without knowing it's a bifal or something. It's a just way of life. It's a way how you live. Um, and being a bifal, calling a bifal, let's say there is a process. We call something we call ahlam to nafsi, meaning you return everything to God. If you want to go somewhere, you gotta tend to, right? And you have to wish first because before you talk, you already talk twice. You talk in your mind, process, and take it to your mouth. Take it, right? So that's pretty much the same. And the first thing is just the ahlam nafsi, meaning giving everything to God, the Almighty, that from your word, your wish, and everything. And from now on, you just try to do good and be positive. Do the zikr and be good like you are. And you don't have to, it's not something like, it's just something more about feelings that you knowing about like the Sufi, because it's not something that technically you can define, oh, this is what that means, Sufi. This is what that means, two words, because it can be a generic word. Each person can have its own conception of Sufi. But the only things I can say about Sufi is like a total devotion towards his God. And in the devotions, like you just there is no, I don't say like rules about you have to sit on and write it on first this, first that, first this, first that, because through everything, work, you can get everything through the knowledge. The founder of the Sufi by Falman, Sheikh Ibrahim Fallam, he used to say, Ligay mo gën jàng, means work is better than studying.
Work is better than study.
Yeah, because when you work, you study and you work at the same time.
Ah, that's I like that.
So when you study, you're wasting time for working, meaning you're gonna work what you study, then start again work. So you're losing a lot of movement. All right. So
Yeah.
once you work, you do the same time because you can do mistake, fix it, and someone fix it, and you can learn and move on. So you learn at the same time you practice.
I think that's an important point, and that's one that for me, I noticed that at times I might be caught up in the getting ready stage, the preparatory stage.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
you know,
And you figure out everything. You're gonna learn like in 5 seconds how to do it, right? And you do it at the same time. You say, "Wow, how did I do that?"
exactly. But when you go in there and you just do it, it's kind of like a child learning to walk.
Exactly.
They have to, they learn by
Because most of the
doing.
time when you learn the things that you already figure out how to do it, right?
And it also feels like when you are doing it, and this is what, again, I'm going to use the labels by fall, but one thing I've noticed is when you're doing your work, when you're making the coffee, when you're roasting the beans, you seem very much present, very much. So what's your process like? What's going on within yourself when you're doing that, when you're making your coffee and serving it as well?
Because it's all about love. You know, um, people talk about love, but really love they don't know. The real love is God. Because once you like get into that, it's like in somewhere when you how you can feel the love really is where it's no conditions. I mean, it's just love. Right? That's how you can feel the interaction between what you loving and how it's loving you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can that energy, that presence, and all of that. That something that you cannot explain to converse someone, but something that you know that you're living with. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, and it's not necessarily what many may think of as a emotional love or romantic love or these sort of things,
that's part of the love, romantic. That's a part of. But the real what we're talking about is no conditions. It's like you just say human, it's just human. You say love, it's just love and nothing else beside. And that's how they're living with that incense. And once you get in full and access to that, whatever you do is going to be all joyful that you can even feel like how you can feel all those reaction and the actions, how it goes, that you can get control because of the love. Let's say even a pet, you have a pet or something. Like with that love you get, you can feel all those reaction, interaction, you can show it to you without talk to you with own world, right? So it's about that. It's more feeling and deeper than that. Because the founder of Baifal, Mam Sheikh Ibrahim Afal, when he was going to meet his Sheikh, he said at one point he heard the angel was singing Bagagam Agjef, meaning it's three words: love, believe, and action. And that's
Love, believe, and action.
correct.
Hmm.
Because you cannot believe someone without loving him, and you cannot work for someone without believing him. And that all give you like in like that energy and all those, let's say, all those like joint perception you're getting back from that, that is like more usually like we just talking an example, of course, whatever we live in the spirituality, we live in our daily life too, but in a different form, in a different way. Let's say that love with now without a condition, if we're staying with our family and stuff, we love our kids. Whatever your kids say, even he's lying, sometimes say, okay, I know, but it's fine, you accept it, right? Then after you talk to him, that's not right, but this, but you already agreed and believe in him, or pretend to believe in him, because that's love. And whenever you get your paycheck, you're gonna put it back to them, right?
Yeah.
And that's patient. It cannot be separate. And that's why when you're loving and representing in one God, and all the meditation they do is just representing one, representing the love they have through the Almighty and the censor and where they start and where they finish, and nothing else.
So let's, can you explain that again? Because there were some really, I think, important things you hit upon there that I just wanted to, maybe you can expand on. So are you saying to when you talk about love everyone as the one, I mean, you didn't say it in that way, but can you talk a little bit about that? What is that one, and how are you saying to, there's a saying, see God in every person.
Because if you get a chance to see a bifal, the way they dress, the outfit, and also even the jewelry that they have in the necklace, it's all meant something. Um, if I say all in one, because they got all in one. It got all spirituality in one. And even the way they dress, you can see all the spirituality on the dress in one. Each, like the dress, the patchwork they put, it was from one of the prophet he used to call Zulkifli before the Christ. He used to dress like that with the patchwork clothes. They use beads. It's from the wood, ebon wood, that some explain that that wood, that's what Noah used to make the arch. They use myrrh. That was the first gift from the Christ. They use a lot of stuff. So all those things, each spirituality you go, you will find it, and they got all those stuff in one. So that's why I'm explaining it's all in one.
All in one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 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 also like the way they living in a different community, in a different spirituality, they share it with anybody and accept anyone. And that doesn't deny anybody. Meaning they more having the movement of the angel and the behavior of the angels. Like, because the angel doesn't sleep, the only difference is the angel that doesn't produce, and probably the wife have a baby. But beside that, most of the things they do it. Like in constant, something that doesn't mean like, oh, maybe because of this, I'm not gonna do it. They will do it for no condition. They can see a poor person, let's say outside on the street, help them without wait for say thank you. So you're gonna be surprised why he didn't wait for me to say thank you, because he just did it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe if he was somebody else, he would say, why you don't say thank you? You're so rude. I said, nah, you just do it. That's fine. you know, and I mean, it's a lot of behavior they do. It's not, I don't say it's normal, but maybe somebody else can see it because I think it's not normal. Why are you doing that? You're not supposed to do this. But it's normal to that. Because it's all a part of it, the way they see the others and the way they consider the others. Because look at somebody else, they always see themselves because what I was saying earlier, walakat karamna bani Adam, meaning the all human being, all creations, the human being being the chosen. That's what God said in front of the angel, in front of everybody. And since that, they keep that order and they never denied it. And even you go through the Bible, they explain to you what and how he was living in the paradise and why we got out of paradise and came here. And in the Holy Spirituality, they explain to you why we came out this time here. And the reason why we came out, because we did something that we're not supposed to do when we was there. And doing that, that's what we follow it, meaning like God order and we deny that order. And here, when he order, they just following that order. They're not, what, let's say the devil was saying no, we're saying yes, meaning he didn't honor the human being. Whatever you see, how we greeting, right? We just doing this, meaning that's what the devil denied. So we bring it back. It's all, once you accept it and receive it, that's where the blessing in the light is started. Knowing where you're coming from and where you're going. What's the scientific use to ask about where we're from, where we're going, who we are. All those answers they already know, but living with it, meaning know where they're from, what's happening yesterday, and try to fix it in the daily life and instant, meaning knowing that this is what happened. We're not going to say, oh, where we're from, we're not going to question back or something like that. But it's better to try to do the righteous thing, respect the others, being righteous, believe it or not. But even the Bible or any religion doesn't say that. The way they did it is how it's supposed to be, for the respect for the human being, honoring, because we control everything in this earth, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So meaning that means something still.
Can you do the by fall greeting again? Because just show our audience the thing you did with your hand, because I've been greeted that way.
I don't have to show anybody can ever see like how people greeting the Queen of England. You kiss his hand like, right? That's the same way we greeting to anybody. Kids, man, that's anybody. That's how we greeting.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how because to honor of the son of Adam. All right. Because the son of Adam, God say he been chosen. That's why the devil was mad and tried to get us to the paradise. That's why we're here. And coming here, you gotta be still in all process too. It's like an experience to our body and soul to living and going back. That's where the Murid can interpret. And the Murid is like where you're going back. It can be because in the Quran, God is said there is a place in the human being where it's good. If it's good, everything is good. And it's the heart. When you have a good heart, everything is good on you. And when you have I don't say a bad heart can be someone who's selfish, who's doing a bad, or who doesn't wish something good to the others, or always doing bad things. And that's worse than the cancer, because you're never going to be happy. You're always being mad for the others or complaining or doing something like that. But if you wish the same thing and have a good heart, you won't have that problem most of the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think part of the obstacle that some people have is, especially here on the West, is avoidance of looking at those flaws. You know, those kind of those parts of ourselves that might not be so pretty and nice. I think before we can do anything about it, we have to recognize that it's there. Like take honest stock, like take inventory
Right.
of what's, be honest with
Right.
ourselves.
Exactly. I do. That's true. That's true. Yeah, and that's so wide the way actually um how 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 Biofile is trying to make a lot of things right now. Meaning not helping the community, but is helping anybody who can and who need it. Um, it can be in a different way. Okay. Without no exchange, without no returns, and it can be helps can be anywhere, right? It doesn't mean oh help of this, help of that, and they are very like organized in the way it could be more better place to live in this world. That knowing why we're here, because sometimes we focus so much to materials, iPhone, house, kids, blah blah blah, till we forget we won't die tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know what?
that's a good point. Let's talk a little bit about that because you know, we do put so much focus on the material world, and I do at times too. I get caught up in this stuff, and sometimes forget that this body's going to drop at some point. You know, we're all, you know, so
Right, right. We never like get full. We always full but still hungry. So we never get enough. So and that's a part of the problem that if it was the life, it would be like better if you just was doing in the way. This is what it is about the life that we got everything, right? And we came here with no, we didn't ask for it, but we came in the good conditions. And I give you an example about a book I wrote. A guy, he used to ask God to help him to get like a better life. And he was walking, trying, and he never find. And he was traveling till he went to a place where he couldn't have a water. He was keeping going and going and going. And once he died, he asked God, why you didn't help me? He said, you're so stupid. I'm the one who was keeping you going. And that's true. Because that's the most help you can do to keep you going. Because you can't control anything about of you, even your heart. You sleep, you keep beating.
that's that's so true. We worry about the
You think you
politics.
can control everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all the thing we just supposed to do is the normal things we gotta do, and that's it, and not stress ourselves for things that can reduce our spirituality, because it's more you focus on those material, more the spiritual is leaving you. It's going far and far away. Because the spiritual and the material is way different the way you understand what the material is. Because the materials itself, you've been created by God like you, the steel, iron, all those cross material we created, whatever we got, they serving like you too. So if you focus on them and they serve you, that's going to be complicated. The material is going to be powerful than you. That's where we talk about the robbers going to take over because we focus on them so much.
Yeah, so
yeah, that's why we talk about ATA stuff, because we focus to them on much. We believe too much on that. And they like creation like us, you know. They maybe we cannot hear what they talk, even the tree, the ocean, the bird, they all talking, they all serving, and they're here for us. But if you hear and think you are here for them, that's where the problem.
Yeah,
And that's something bigger than what we're supposed to get. Like the scientific say, we have on use our brain less than I don't know how many percentage. Meaning we are very sorry to say the word stupid, right? Because we haven't used that much to our conscience. So meaning we focus something that keep our spirituality so low. Because where spirituality and the common sense they can match together, that's where you can reach a total, of your brain. Why you cannot get into access to that? It's not locked, you know. It's all open, right? Or maybe they put on some virus on it. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I think we just need to I would say back up, but it's just good to see nowadays the young kids, the new generation, most of it are spiritual because that's where they need to be grow and organized in a better society. Um, in the way that's where they can promote also. When we talk about spirituality, there's nothing to do with religions for me. For me, spiritual and religious is different. In my thing, because the spiritual is something that stay, but the religious you leave it here. But the spirit is infinite, because it's part of you, right? But the religions you come here, they add it to your life. And the spirit is wide, and that's where you can connect from today, tomorrow, this earth to beyond. And that's where people are connected to. That's why the spirituality in this show is very important, to talk about the spirituality in a different way, because it's very wide. You can find it in any sense because it's part of our life. About the coffee, like we were saying, like let's say if you see the Christian have the wine spirit, let's say the Moors have the coffee spirit. And it depends how the way like they expand it to put it and make it grow. Because knowing those Sufi that time was sitting to watch Ahmadu Bamba, now those Sufi are visionary. They can predict or see if something is happening or when they get to that stage. And knowing this time of periods, most of the kids be lazy, praying 5 times a day, or doing this or doing that. He may help to just drinking coffee and put that spirit in there, and that help to meditate and to be close, and to be blessed. And anything is possible, right?
yeah.
So, and I think I've been living that experience as doing the coffee in New York City, serving the coffee tuber. I've been dealing that. If you see one of the video you just showed, there was one of the homeless on the last part I was talking. I'm doing that with many of the homeless to give them the coffee. Or some have a mental disorder or something like that. I just say, hey, come on here. Do you drink coffee? Yeah. Take this coffee and make a wish. And the crazy thing is they make a wish. All right. They drink it, go. The next day, come back and ask me for the coffee. I give them again. They go and come back. Every day come. But after months, you see change. Like, when I say change, meaning looking better. And I'm not the one who noticed it. The people who hang out with me sometimes say, yo, this is not your guy who used to come here. He changed, man. Alhamdulillah. Meaning, it's just like love. Because when we make it, when we do it, we put all our energy of love to put all those wishes to whoever got it, have that blessing that we can spread. Um,
Yeah.
and whoever got it, have all it needs, not only like because of this or that, but it's just a wishing. But I think the wishing can be accepted by having those experiences that I tested it and not saying maybe or I heard, but I'm living with it. Um, and I,
And there's something too, you know, when you do something also that you're passionate about and you love doing, like when you make coffee, you can tell that there's this, you're passionate about it.
yeah,
And I think that's one of the best ways to serve is by doing what you love. That passion, that
exactly.
enthusiasm, that energy goes out into the world. So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And I think whoever drink it feel it too. From all those energy you put in on it. And that's what I think. Like anybody's feeling it when they drink the coffee. Um, and and the coffee, even you go to Ethiopia, it's a spiritual, is a part of the culture of Ethiopian culture. They drink so much coffee for gathering, like spiritual or family gathering, like in Senegal nowadays. Back in the day, they don't used to drink coffee, but everybody drink coffee, not only for spiritual, but drinking coffee because of the taste, because of the health benefit, the ingredient you mix it with the coffee, and at the same time, it can be spirituality if you want it.
Yeah. Beautiful. So we're about at the hour mark, so we should probably wrap up soon. But is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted a chance to discuss?
Maybe what I want to talk about is about probably a little bit about the company, what we do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's get into that. Again, this is the coffee. I'm drinking some right now. It's delicious. And can you talk about the coffee, where people can get it, and you know what is your mission in with the coffee?
the company is called Jeff Joe. Probably people may ask you about what that means. The word Jeff Joe means you reap what you sow. All right. That's what that means in Wolof word in Senegalese languages. And why that? Because um, I like that word. It's short and so true, right? And I think you cannot like put a seed of lemon and make it grow in the orange, right? So that's what pretty much mean. And we try to put a seed where it's a seed of love that can grow and spread the whole world that anybody can feel it. That's the name of the company, Jeff. And the coffee, we started launched this company pretty much like 5 years ago now. Um, that was actually 8 years. And before we started with nonprofit, then turned it to a profit businesses. And the mission was just to help as much people to be more healthier and have also new coffee. And we've been working with a lot of different projects with farmers, kids, communities, helping people during the pandemics also as well. Um, all we do is about like food and culture, the company, serving the food, creating value, helping people to go to their business and have a better life. Because where we're from, my background, Senegal's, they still have the problem as the same African country. Um, for most of the issue of immigrations, farmers, kids, which is a huge problem that we fight for by creating value, innovating something that the coffee tuber basically was this bag. Um, we start working on now we make it in the espresso capsule. They have a very good espresso capsule now with the coffee, and we just launched also the instant one recently. Just to try to break and create the value from one product to a different one that everybody can get access. And it's available everywhere, online, at the store in New York City. We have a different states in the United States as well available, and we ship it in a nationwide as well. Just to make everybody feel the coffee of the taste of Tuba, and at the same time feeling Africa, because where we get the coffee beans, the ingredient is a different part and mix it together. So let's say you can have a different ingredient somewhere in Africa that give you a better taste. And it's a very unique coffee and special. And at the same time, it'd be a very grateful for your spirituality meditation. When you're having a meditation, having a coffee tuba that can help you relax with the taste, smell. It can be temporary and spiritual at the same time. And that's about our business. And we're doing as much we can to create a different product and a different type of stuff with the coffee tuba. It's called coffee tuba because the recipient is from Surin Tuba, the founder of the Mauritania.
Oh, wow. Do you have pods? Is that what I saw? Wow.
Yeah.
I got to get some of those.
We have that fast now. we have in a different color, actually, like in the blue, in this. Yeah, and it's coming can capsule in the box.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, we try to make in a different color, like the patchwork. Yeah, so that's how it comes. We have it this. It's compatible with any Nespresso capsule, actually.
So it works with the Nespresso machines as well?
Any Nespresso machine works. Yeah.
So I want to before we and I'm going to add your company link to the description of this video, but I wanted to play one more video before we close. So I'm going to play this, and this is your interview with Channel 7 News. So we're gonna play this for our audience. All right.
A backyard business in Brooklyn is blending culture and really good coffee. Eyewitness News reporter Ade Richardson introduces us to an entrepreneur who's helping people from around the world in a very unique way.
I love what I do.
It's a very simple operation. It's just this one pot and this one fire.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And one hand.
And one hand. A cinder block doubles as a chair. But from his backyard here in Brooklyn, Birane Seck is taking on a very complicated situation back home in Senegal.
People are leaving their families for immigrations, where they was having a very prosperity, growing their farms, selling in the community, have a very good life. And now when I go on vacation, nobody's there. They was living the community.
Something this soft-spoken 36-year-old is determined to change. His plan centers around coffee. His neighbors here in Bed-Stuy are well aware. They know you're out here?
They know I'm out here. I give them a samples. They love the coffee too.
Birane, at times, whips up about 100 pounds of coffee a day.
I always love coffee because I remember when I was kids, we was waking up in the morning, doing the same process I was doing it right now.
A traditional Senegalese method he learned as a child.
From the starting, it's so joyful. From the washing to the grounding, the roasting, even the smells that make you feel better.
The unique blend, beans from Ethiopia and a special seed, result in a mixture with notes of raisin and clove. Senabu helps her husband with their just-launched company, Jeef Jill. You can find their product at this nearby market. A restaurant in Harlem also serves coffee tuba, which means coffee of peace. This entrepreneur tells me he hopes to expand in order to help others back in West Africa.
We are here to make the difference.
Ade Richardson, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
So we're gonna begin to wrap up now, and again, I'm gonna post the links for Jeff Gel, and you can get the different coffee products. And what other products do you offer? Is it only coffee products or?
We do we try to diversify the products. We had baobab oil. It's like a tree of life. It's come with it's like a grain fruit. It's like a sour. And the reason why we picked that product, as I was telling you, we try to protect the environment and all the stuff. And why baobab? Because baobab is one of the older tree that we used to play when I was kid in Senegal. I used to play around. You can find it anywhere. It's part of Senegal, and that tree can stay more than 1,000 years. So because the problem of the global warming, they start being disappear. So to protect those trees, so I try to educate the community to say, hey, this fruit it can be useful. Don't just destroy this tree. Just save it. I can make this like oil and help you. You can collect the fruit and I just can buy it back and just transform it and show them also how to make it so they can create a value. So that's where the start of the baobab oil is from. And we do make also soap as well.
Okay, great. And everything can be found on your website where
Yes.
people can order.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So I'm going to just some closing remarks. Again, this is Ade Richardson and Guided Meditations and More. That's the name of this page. If you have any comments or questions for Birane, you can leave them below this video or you can send me a direct message and I'll try to get it to him. You could get in direct contact with him too through his website, Jeff Gel LLC. Is that .com or .org?
It's just jeffgel.com.
Okay, jeffgel.com, and I'll post a link in the description of this video. And is that the best way for them to get in contact with you?
And contact me through my website, yes.
Okay, great. And again, if you like these interviews and the guided meditations, and you want to be notified about what we're doing next, if you like or follow the page, you'll get the notifications and the updates. If you have any questions or comments for me, please feel free to send me a message to my inbox. And so everyone, thank you for joining. Birane, thank you for joining. You know, it's really nice having you here. And, yeah, hope to visit you when you get back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're gonna have some coffee, right?
Yeah. And for those that don't know, Birane is in Dakar, right?
I'm doing some visit with the community, like about what's going on, so to see how we can help and also about some partners as well. Yeah.
Okay. And when you're not there, you're in Brooklyn, New York. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's where I live. I'm a Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For having me.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining.